through setting up a Google Classroom and the basic use of it, just in case we have to go to remote teaching for a brief period of time. So here's how you get there and what you would do once you're there. If you haven't already set up Google Classroom, it's a real neat tool. It's called classroom.google.com is the web address to get there. Or if you're signed in with your Shen Schools account, you can click the Shen Schools bookmarks and it'll be the first one here. The first time you come into Google Classroom, it won't look just like this because I've already set up some classes. You may get a prompt that asks you, are you a teacher or are you a student? The obvious choice is teacher, although sometimes people click students because they want to be students in other people's classrooms. Doesn't matter. You're still only going to select teacher. Okay? Teacher will give you two options up here. It'll give you join class and create class. Join classes if you want to be a student in someone else's. Create classes to create your own classes for students to enroll in. As far as this goes, if you only see join class, it means your account's been set up as a student account. If you email myself or Gia Petrofessa, we can move you into the bucket for teachers, and then after you refresh, you should see join class and create class. You can see I've already got 5 classes set up, plus I'm enrolled in one class. The way you can tell the difference is classes that you've set up show the number of students that are enrolled in that class. When you're enrolled in someone else's class, it shows you the name of the teacher and their graphic or image that they've used for Classroom there. Okay, so how do we go about setting this up? So we click plus and we say create class. Now in this pop-up, I wouldn't worry about the section, subject, and room too much because they don't really appear. I would put all the information you want to see up here. So I often tell people to start it with the school year because as time goes on, it'll be easier for you to pull out old posts from other previous years if you know the year number in the title of the class. I also tell people that they should put the section that they're teaching. So for elementary teachers, not necessarily as important, but for secondary teachers who have 5 different sections, I would put the year, the name of the course, we'll go with physics for this one, and then the period that that section normally meets. Now you have the option of dumping all of your kids into one class, but grading papers, sorting them out, putting them into Infinite Campus, all of those things are easy if you do it by section with 30 students rather than 125. And as you'll see when we start using the classroom, there's no reason that you can't assign the same assignment to 5 classes all in one motion. So it's not like by creating separate sections, you're gonna have to go in and assign it 5 separate times and type it out 5 separate times. You don't have to do that with Classroom. So we're gonna create our class, and it will take it a few minutes to do it. Once it's done, we'll go through some basic style choices, and then we'll show you how to begin putting content into your class. All right, so here it brings up a message to you letting your students know that this is the code that they would use to get in. This is something that you would have to enroll them in while you have them in class, or you would have to email this code to them in order for them to join a class. You can invite your students from this interface, but they always have the option of declining it, and it only goes to them as an email, and some students don't regularly or reliably check their email. So it's best to sit down with Chromebooks in front of you and have them all join your class at once. You can click this little, let me get rid of that message. You can click this little box here to display the code bigger, and then if you want it even bigger, you can click on it again. Okay, once you're done having the students join your classroom, click there. If you click over here on people, what you'll see is all of your students who've enrolled. Okay, if you want to manually send invites to students, you can click here and type in their email address and it will send them an invite. Now this will only work for secondary students, as currently our K-5 students don't have email addresses that they can check their email. Okay, if you want to add a co-teacher to the class, someone else who can give assignments, grade assignments, etc., you can do that by clicking here and typing in their email address. You will notice there are 4 tabs going across the top. In brief, I'll explain each of them, and then we'll spend a little bit more time delving into the Classwork one. Okay, so I'm going to click on the Stream one first. Stream is just like it sounds. If you're thinking of Facebook and other online social media tools, this is where all of your announcements will go telling the students what's going on. create and schedule announcements. You can set this class up so that students can reply to these posts. It's part of the options for the class. So what I just did, in case you didn't notice, is I clicked on the options button up here, where I can go in and edit my title, everything else. I can reset my class code, or I can lock it so that students can't get in unless they have that code previously and we're already in. If you disable it, they won't be able to get in even using that code. So once you have all of your students in, that's not something that is bad to do. Here's where we were talking about. Students can post and comment. So that gives them full access. They can start their own threads. They can reply to each other's threads. So if you don't want students to be able to start a thread and then comment on other students' threads, you can bump it down to students can only comment, which means you would have to start the post and then the students could comment. This one here is the most restrictive, and I wouldn't recommend it, especially if we're teaching remotely, because that two-way communication is going to be important. Only teachers can post or comment. So at the very least, you're going to want to do this one. Teaching remotely, it may be that you want to do this one. Now, these posts are not moderated, meaning that they go up instantly. They don't go up and then allow you to look at them and then put them out to the rest of the students. They are live when a student posts. Okay. However, you can delete student posts and you can document what students said in the post because they have to be signed in with their Shed Schools account. So there is no posting anonymously. All right. There are lots of other options in here. Guardian summaries is where Google will send parents an email with what's going on in the class. It does not allow them to actually enter the classroom and see all the assignments. It's simply a summary email of what's going on. And you can get an example of that right here. You can turn it off. It's on right now by default. And in the People tab, you can, next to your students' names, put a parent email address for those summaries. You may see some parent email addresses already in there. That's because one of your fellow teachers who has that same student has entered that information for the parents. Okay. The bottom section here is how the grade book calculates. You'll notice that you have total points or weighted categories as an option. Now, right now, this grade book does not currently export directly to SIS. You'll have to manually transpose the grades you give here over into SIS. Okay, but the students can see all of their work and all of their comments in this interface. So those are the settings for the class. The important one I wanted to show you was how students can post. All right, so back over to here, this is where you would post your announcements and the students would reply. This is where the conversation is going to occur when you're not live in a Google Meet running an instructional session. Okay, you can change your theme for your board to any one of the default ones. They have also categories going across the top. Okay, I'm doing math and science. That's the one it picked for me. I'm going to switch to this one that looks a little bit more physics-y. Okay, and you'll notice this changes in just a second. Or you can upload your own photo. That's the stream. It's pretty much a digest of everything that's going on. Classwork is where you're going to post your assignments. So you'll notice that you have a create button here. You can create an assignment, a quiz assignment, a poll question, or you can put up materials for the students to use that aren't part of necessarily any one of these things. They're just general resource materials. You can also create topics to group these things into. So as you create an assignment or a quiz assignment or any of these for that matter, you'll be able to give it a topic or create a new topic at that time. It helps lump them together, sort of like by chapters or by units. Reuse post allows you to pull a post from a previously closed classroom, a classroom you used in one of the previous years that you archived at the end of the year, and you had a really good post and you don't want to type it all out. Reuse post allows you to go back to that 18-19 class, find that post, and reuse it in this class here. So you don't even have to retype stuff from year to year. You just have to pull it from the class that it was assigned in. There is a Google Calendar associated with your class. Any assignment that is given will also appear on that calendar. The other ones do not. It's only assignments that appear there. In announcements that you give on the stream page, those will not appear on the calendar either. Only assignments. Okay. Class drive folder, you don't really need to fool with. It's where all the materials are stored when you start assigning work to the students. So let's create an assignment to show you that screen. Create assignment. You got to give it a title before you'll be able to post it. So we'll say sample remote class assignment. Here's where you type the instructions that you would normally verbally give to students in class. Use complete sentences. Whatever other requirements you have, please read the rubric before submitting work. Students can submit their work and unsubmit it depending on where they are in the assignment process. So they can submit it and say, oops, I made a mistake, pull it back, and then resubmit it. As long as you haven't graded it, it won't matter for the students. Okay, over here, this is where you can select all of your classes to give the assignment to. So like I said before, you don't have to type it 5 times. You just simply have to check the boxes next to the additional ones. You can also, within a class, select a subset of students. So if you have one assignment that's going to 5 students and another assignment that's going to the rest, you would post 2 assignments, one to the 5 students and then one to the remaining students. They only see the assignments that they have access to in their classroom stream. You'll see all of them. They will only see the ones they have access to. So you can even do individual assignments if you wanted. Okay, here's where you can give it a point value or say it's an ungraded assignment. To give it a point value, you can simply retype in that box to redo it. When the assignment is due, and you can pick from a calendar view, and then what topic this assignment goes in. And you can create as many topics as you want, but then it's going to group assignments by topic. Any assignment not put in a topic will appear at the top of the page until you give it a topic. So some teachers use that top of the page as their current work, and then they file it into topics after the fact by editing the post, which is perfectly permissible. Okay, so topic, we'll give it chapter 1. Okay, you can create a rubric. If you've already created a rubric previously, you can reuse previous rubrics. Okay, I have a whole separate video on creating rubrics, so I'm not going to do that here, but you can check that video out if you want to use that feature. Also, I have a whole separate video on how to use originality reports. You can only use these 3 times per class. Doesn't mean you can't create a class for each quarter. 3 times per class. And basically, Google will go out and search and scour the internet to make sure that the content the students turned in is theirs and isn't copied and pasted from any websites. It'll give you a report on that with a percentage of the assignment that's been copied. And it'll show you what sections have been copied and where Google thinks they've been taken from. So really nice feature. You get 3 per class. The students can run this report themselves. If you've assigned this assignment with that checked, they can run it 3 times before they submit it to you to check themselves before they submit it. All right, so now over here, we've got our title and our description. We can add existing work from our Google Drive as a template for the students to use and fill in. So say you have a traditional worksheet with traditional blanks that was done in Google Docs. You can click Add, go out to your Google Drive, select that document. So I'm going to simply pick a Google Doc that I have here. All right, and now there's 3 ways we can give this to students. They can view the file, which means it's a reading assignment. They can edit the file. Students, plural, can edit the file, singular. This option means that all of the students are collaborating as a group on one assignment, or all the students, I should say, that you've assigned this assignment to are collaborating as a group. All of their comments, all of their text, typing, all appears in one document. It's like for brainstorming sessions or group work. The bottom option, make a copy for each student, gives each student their own individual copy so that when they turn it in, you will see however many students you have, 25, 30 students, their individual work, so you can grade it and score it individually. Okay, make a copy for each student is generally what a lot of people choose. So we've got our assignment, we've got our work attached. Note that you can attach more than one assignment to it. You can also attach YouTube videos for resources, links to outside websites, a file from your local computer, although I would recommend using the Google Drive and Google Docs for this because it makes it much easier when you go to score it, okay, and much easier for the students to complete it because they may not have access to Microsoft Word or PowerPoint at home. So really got to think about switching everything over to a Google type document if you're going to be teaching remotely, okay, because you don't know what the students have available to them when they're outside of school. If they're using a school-issued Chromebook, they don't have Microsoft, so you're going to want to make sure that you use those Google Docs. Now, you can assign this assignment live right now, or you can click this little pull-down button next to it and schedule it for a later date or save it as a draft that you're going to finish later. I'm going to click assign so you can see how this posts and what it looks like. But a lot of stuff to show you in Classroom if you've never used it before. All right, so you can see there's my topic that I previously told you, Chapter 1. There's the assignment. As you stack up topics here, you can drag the topics and move them around to rearrange the order. They do not have to be in chronological order as you created them. They can be in alpha order if you want, or any order that you choose. You can also pull an assignment out of a topic and drag it and drop it into another topic to put it in a different topic. Assignments can, however, only be in one topic at a time. You can't have them in multiple topics. Now we've got our assignment done. You can see 0 students have turned it in. It's been assigned to 0 students because I assigned it to the whole class and there's currently no one enrolled in this class. I can go and view my assignment. When I view it, it'll take me into a view where I see each student's work that's been submitted over here. I can click on any of them to go into the scoring mode where I can read that student's assignment, give it a score over here on the right-hand side, and then click next to go on to the next student, all staying in that one interface. As students get scored and as they submit assignments, they will appear over here. They'll also appear over here even if they haven't submitted it in a section that says not turned in. If you want to see what it looks like from the student view of this, we do have a video that's for students using Classroom, and you can see the student side of this interface from there. So this is the student work. You have the instructions pane, which takes you back to where you can see the instructions. Students can leave comments about the assignment. You can reply to them and have a conversation about how to do this work. If you're not live on Google Meet, this is where you would do it. This is the basics of Google Classroom. There's a lot more features to it. Google does have extensive help for this. Okay, to get back to my dashboard and see all of my classes, I can click this here, switch to any one of my classes, or click on classes here to get back to the main dashboard. This is a real quick, real fast tutorial on how to use Google Classroom. There are lots more videos online. There's lots more help materials at the Google Classroom support site, which I will post a link to at the end of this video as a banner across the bottom. Okay, so if you have questions, don't hesitate to email Gail or myself. We'll be glad to help you. We'll also have a video coming up on how to use Google Meet to do a live class that ties into this Classroom interface, because you would post it as an announcement and students would join you for a 30, 40 hour-long class on the topic that you're teaching that day via video chat. Okay, and we'll talk more about how to use Google Meet at a later point.